Can Bruce Wayne become the world's greatest marksman even if it means having to overcome his fear of guns? Well, let's hop into the pages of Batman The Night issue number 6 and find out together, shall we? So then, as the comic opens, we're in the wooded expanses of British Columbia, Canada. Pfft, holy shit, I was not expecting to see BC when I opened my new Batman book. I almost did a full spit take. We see a lone marksman drop a giant buck with expert archery skills before eventually getting cornered by Bruce and his friend Anton. The mystery hunter is revealed to be one Luca Jungo, a special forces sniper from the Swiss government, once believed to be the deadliest man in the world at range. Though as it seems when Bruce finds him, he's put a lifetime of death and bloodshed behind him, choosing instead to live off the land away from all of those who would seek revenge on him. Bruce and Anton want to learn his ways, and at first he shuts them down. That is, of course, until he finds out that they were sent to him by Avery in Russia. Apparently the two had actually formed a hell of a bond back in the day over the mutual distaste they had for all the killing that needed to be done in the world of espionage. He only agrees to take in Bruce and Anton on the condition that they promise to not use anything he teaches them to kill. Training is actually slow going at first for Bruce, while Anton has proved to be an excellent marksman, being able to split his own arrows. Bruce just can't seem to get out of his own head. Anton also can't help but reveal his own deep inner psychopathy too. He's basically that guy from The Simpsons who keeps saying, "When are we gonna trade with the friggin' guns?" In the end, Bruce is only able to find his target when he comes at this not from the angle of a killer or a sniper, but instead from the angle of a Mongolian tribesman. Yes, on top of learning kung fu and espionage and everything else, Bruce also learned to live off the land with a group of nomadic people. They taught him how to read signs in the world, to essentially always be prepared for any small shift and be able to adjust. Because of that, Bruce is able to take down a duck for dinner. It's over dinner Luca shares the story with the two young men about what exactly made him want to quit his life as the world's greatest sniper. Apparently his last mission in Mexico went very bad very quickly. Luca and another group of shooters were sent to deal with a cartel boss. And while killing the one man had come as easy as all the other murders before, it's what happened next that really made Luca begin to second guess his life choices. You see, the man's wife and son were actually there for the killing, even though all intel said they were supposed to be elsewhere. If the woman or the kid were to scream, they could give away the position of the snipers and they would all in turn be horribly murdered. So Luca made the terrible, horrible split-second decision to gun them both down. Obviously, this all cuts Bruce pretty damn deep too. After all, Luca, his brand new teacher, is in many ways not so different from Joe Chill, the man who killed his parents and ruined his life. The only difference was Luca was sanctioned by the government, but does any of that actually make it okay? Or is this just yet another piece of a much bigger, corrupt system that Bruce will one day hope to fight against as Batman? It's after that Luca finally allows Bruce and Anton to train with guns, and as you might expect, Bruce has a hard time doing it. Every time he pulls the trigger, he just sees the face of Joe Chill over and over again. Luca also continues to impart some words of wisdom on the young men too, saying the problem with guns is that they make things too easy. That ending the life of someone far away barely feels like ending a life at all, and it's for all those reasons and more Luca hopes that the boys will only use these skills ever only to disarm. Bruce and Anton stay with Luca a few more months, but for a change it's actually Anton who ends up getting the itchy feet first and wants to leave. He thinks that he's learned everything he can from Luca, and that it's time to find new teachers. Here's the thing though, when they bring back their deer killed for the day, Luca ends up noticing something about Anton's shot. Instead of doing the quick and painless thing of shooting it in the head, Anton shot it in the neck, not even severing the spine. He actively wanted this thing to suffer. Anton doesn't think it's a big deal. Dead is dead, right? But for Luca, this ends up revealing something horrible that he didn't want to admit to himself, and that is that Anton is not everything that he appears to be. That unlike Bruce, he's probably going to use these tactics for evil. And like any other psychopath worth their salt, Anton is just pretending to be good and saying what everyone wants to hear. What follows is a Mexican standoff. Luca draws on Anton and Bruce ends up drawing on him. Luca says that they have to stop Anton now before he ends up doing something horrible, even if that unfortunately means killing him. Bruce doesn't want to let Anton go because, well, he's his friend. The signs are right in front of him, but sadly Bruce can't see them until it's all too late. Bruce fires, and using what he has learned over these past few few months manages to disarm Luca. Sadly, Anton ends up showing his true colors anyway and killing Luca even though he didn't have to. This in turn leads to a big knockdown drag-out fight between Bruce and Anton. Bruce actually manages to get the drop on Anton and not get shot. Bruce questions if anything him and Anton have done together is true. Did he really want to go on this quest to better himself, to try and fight crime like he said? Anton admits that he did what he did because he wanted to be the absolute best, and that fighting crime would be more of an uphill challenge than being a criminal, but that still doesn't mean that he's going to be a nice guy about it. For him, it was never a matter of doing good in the world, it was only a matter of doing what was good for him at the moment. Ultimately, Bruce doesn't win the fight, but he does get probably the best verbal jab in, saying that Anton's biggest problem is that he couldn't have done any of this on his own. Because deep down in his heart of hearts, he truly fears being alone. Anton even gets the opportunity to execute Bruce, but chooses not to, leaving him behind. As the comic comes to a close, Bruce wakes up half frozen in the snow, his heart broken all over again, having just lost someone very near and dear to him all over again. And so that was Batman the Night, issue number 7, everyone, and once again, Chip Zdarsky and company managed to deliver another excellent barn burner of an issue. I certainly love all the extra time and poignance they give to Batman having to combat his own long, complicated history with guns. There's also a beautiful theme starting to form with all the different teachers that I'm only realizing now, and that is that even though they are all the best in the world at their own particular craft, none of them have actually done anything to try and make the world a better place. And for Bruce, a big thrust of this story seems to be coming to the realization that there's no point about being the absolute best in the world at something, at anything, if you don't try and use that to help people. If not, you're kind of just being like Anton and treating the world that it's a game you get to play with pieces you get to sacrifice whenever you feel like it. The real treat also is getting to see how Chip Zdarsky tells the story of Bruce's evolving morality as Batman. Here it's tested more than just about anywhere else. In order to stop killers, to stop those who live by the gun, Batman must learn from a killer. You can see why being a vigilante and working outside the purview of governments is probably something that appealed to Batman, when governments at the drop of a hat can order great deals of violence to be done in their name. Overall, this was another excellent issue. I cannot wait to see where this series goes from here. The Night is an easy shoo-in for my top 10 list of the year so far, and the year is still very young, so that should tell you something. Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.